In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern. My 8-day vacation is finally over. Obviously, we didn't miss any videos because they were all pre-made. So thank you guys for your patience with all of that. And I appreciate all of you, of course, and I always do. I was a little bit under the weather, unfortunately. We had a good trip, but no pun intended with the under the weather thing, by the way. But I did get sick like very early onto it. So if my voice sounds a little off, that is why. It was a pretty bad cold, but I am now better for the most part. Just my, a little sniffly, a little, you can just hear it a little bit, but overall doing pretty good. I wanted to talk about the past temperatures. We're going to move into the upcoming temperatures, of course, and then we're going to talk about some of the upcoming storminess with these really, really hot temperatures that we've been having. Obviously, thunderstorms are a concern. Severe weather is still going to be a thing, but I think that we have moved through the majority of, well, obviously of the severe weather season, but we're going to take a look at that. There is also some tropical, not really concerns for the United States, but there's a tropical system out there. So we're going to be looking at that for the first time this year for the most part. So we're going to be doing a big old deep dive. Here is the 20-day temperature anomalies for the final 10 days of May and the first 10 days of June. And I wanted to put this out here because I see a lot of comments. I know I've been addressing the comments so much, and I know it's annoying, but I like to do it whenever there's like a common misconception that I keep seeing consistently in the comments just to kind of break it down. But I made a post on my channel you guys could go check out because we did talk about the winter a little bit recently. I addressed some of the comments I had been getting about that. But another one that I keep getting is like, essentially people being like, where's the cool down that you were talking about? It's so hot outside. Here it is. Again, the final 10 days of May and the first 10 days of June were severely below normal in these areas. When you're looking at a 20-day time frame, when we see, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe even more degrees below normal, that is on the very, very severe end of things for that long of a time period. So it was exceptionally cold compared to normal. And we had been talking about this for a long time here for weeks. This strong positive PNA in the West, the warmer temperatures in the West essentially is all that means, is the cause of all of that. Now, what I want to do is actually take a look at the past 10 days here, and you can see that things have warmed up significantly for the central and eastern states. You can walk outside and you would know that. So I don't really need to tell you that it has been much warmer, and for a lot of areas in here, especially the eastern states, the last few days have been really, really hot. The apparent temperature, which is going to be something pretty close to your heat index, has been well over 100 here where I'm at. So severely hot temperatures now. We've flipped everything and it's equally severe, but in the hot direction now. And the reason for this is we've seen this PNA flip into a negative one. So again, the PNA is almost the most important puzzle piece as far as if the West and East is going to be warm or cold. It really helps us out to figure these things out. Let's take a look at some of the upcoming temperatures though, and here's for today. And you can see again, a lot of the Midwest, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast have been severely above normal, 10, 15, 20 degrees above normal for a lot of these areas. Really, really hot. And we've seen really cold temperatures for a lot of the West. I know a lot of you out there had been dealing with hot temperatures for a long time, and you guys are probably very relieved with some of these cooler temperatures moving in. But now you're hearing the opposite from the Eastern folks. It's always going to be this balance between the West and the East. And typically, whatever's happening in the West, the opposite is happening in the East, as we can see here. As we keep going, we could see Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but really not getting much relief except for, specific locations. There are some areas like the upper Midwest, the plains, deep south, northeast here, where we're seeing cooler than normal conditions. But a lot of the areas that are more in the middle of the mix are still well above normal, even as we're approaching this upcoming weekend. Keep in mind that our high temperatures, as we reach into late June, early July, mid-July, that is going to be basically the peak of our high temperatures as far as the averages. So we are at peak temperatures for the year, and we're seeing above normal during that time frame. So that is why it is so hot. A lot of areas averaging, 88 and 89 degrees for high temperatures. So when you're seeing 5 degrees above normal, you're pretty well above 90 in that instance. And as we continue past that weekend, here's Monday the 30th, and really it's still pretty well above normal in a lot of the east. Although we've seen this western area flip. Now we're seeing a positive PNA, so probably a cooling trend. I would anticipate that we are not going to see any more major cooldowns, at least until probably August or September. So with that in mind, we have a couple months to go until then. With that in mind, when we see this strong positive PNA structure, you expect to see some cooler areas and very slightly above normal areas. But overall, when we look at the central and eastern states, you're looking at slightly below normal temperatures that happen as a result of this. There is a little bit of a lag. So we saw the warmer temperatures along the west. It caused this now cool down, slight cool down in the east. We're talking 1, 2, 3 degrees below normal, which for a single day is nothing significant. If it was 10 days in a row, that would definitely be noteworthy, but we're looking at one particular day here. And we already have this cooler air mass over the west starting out. So you can anticipate now, this is for Thursday on the 3rd of July, that we're probably going to see the warm-up return to the east. And we do see that happen, in fact, over time. But before we know it, by the time this warmth has moved into the east, we now have a warm-up in the west. So you could tell that we go from a very slow pattern to a very quick moving one, where we're seeing this flip, and we're warming up and cooling down and warming up and cooling down. It's going to feel average. You'll have a lot of days that are lower 80s, a lot of days that are upper 80s, and there will be some days, especially the upcoming ones for this week, as the 23rd and on, that'll be in the 90s for many folks. But it's not going to be at least abnormally cold for much of the pattern at all. We are having a very excessive heat time period here, again, over the coming days, but it's going to feel pretty normal for summertime, I would say, for the coming weeks, which is what we've been waiting for. I will say that this up and down stuff, as the cold is moving into the warm areas and the warm air is moving into the cooler areas, we could see some turbulent weather ahead as far as thunderstorms and potential severe weather. Typically, the stagnant patterns that are stuck with a single air mass, we see a lot less storminess, and these progressive ones where it's moving back and forth can cause a lot of storms to spark up. So here's by the time we're taking a look at tomorrow on Tuesday the 24th. We do have some storms around, obviously, to break down some areas, the eastern four corner states, some of the plains and Midwest, Great Lakes, Northeast here. So there's a bit of a frontal boundary in there. We do have some thunderstorms sparking up for the Gulf Coast. But nothing too widespread happening by tomorrow on Tuesday. Wednesday the 25th, we start to see, again, just these scattered areas of thunderstorms along the plains, some of the Midwest into the Northeast areas, and even along that Gulf and Southeast coast region. Kind of drier for the middle areas here for the most part. As we keep going, I mean, we see many days like this where we're getting these daily thunderstorms. I will say as we move towards this upcoming weekend, the chance for thunderstorms, at least in the eastern states, and it doesn't go for everybody. We see southern New England and parts of the kind of like lower mid-Atlantic a little bit left out. But it's hard for this model to correctly predict where these gaps will be. There will be some gaps probably, but it's not guaranteed to be in these specific regions. But for the most part, we're looking at 90+% areas in this circle seeing some thunderstorm chances. So I do expect overall this upcoming weekend that thunderstorms will be a more big concern, especially when compared to today on Monday, yesterday on Sunday, and tomorrow on Tuesday. Sunday on the 29th looking the same, and as we move into the evening, look at that. I mean, really flaring up with these thunderstorms. Tuesday the 1st here, Wednesday the 2nd, Thursday the 3rd. Let's look at 4th of July though. Here's Thursday the 3rd, actually. Here's the 4th of July, right around the evening time. So this is 8 p.m. And really, we finally slow down. Maybe some chances of thunderstorms for the plains and Midwest, as well as some of the Southeast here. Maybe the Pacific Northwest being a little showery. But we do actually clear up nicely, so we can definitely hope for a pattern like this where now we're seeing probably at least 75% of the nation seeing a really low chance of rainfall. That'd be good for fireworks on the 4th of July. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. The pattern beyond there, obviously that's our long range, so take it with a grain of salt, but we are much slower. There is these kind of progressive areas of thunderstorms that are moving from west to east quite slowly, and they are around, but really not as widespread with that thunderstorm activity after the 4th of July But again, that is the very long range, so things could certainly change. Total precipitation, we actually see the most for these more central areas like the plains, Midwest, Great Lakes. There is some for the deeper southeast, but overall that central area seems to be the most. And then we're getting a little bit below average maybe for some of these East Coast areas, as well as some of these areas along the South Central states in Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Southeast Oklahoma. Those are kind of your quieter areas. And when we look at our anomalies for the precipitation, this reflects exactly what we're talking about. This area here, very, very active compared to normal, maybe even twice what is average. But for a lot of these areas, more coastal, a little bit closer to normal, even below normal. The Northwest, actually below normal as well as far as precipitation. Now let's dive into the Storm Prediction Center outlook. Here's day one. General thunderstorm risk in the lighter green. And all that means is, well, general thunderstorms are expected, but severe weather is not necessarily expected. The dynamics aren't great for these thunderstorms, but thunderstorms are expected to be sparking up. Now, these are very tricky to forecast, so I always say heat every watch warning and advisory, just in case there is any error in the forecast. Any thunderstorm that sparks up does have the potential to be dangerous, so still pay attention. The two darker green areas there are going to be your level 1 marginal risk, where we expect isolated severe weather within some of those thunderstorms. And then the yellow region from Kansas and Nebraska northeastward through into the upper Midwest and Great Lakes is going to be your level 2 slight risk, where we expect more scattered about severe weather to be occurring. Day 2 here, which will be Tuesday on the 24th, we have a very large general thunderstorm risk area. Very long stretching marginal risk there across some of the plains, Midwest, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast. Again, isolated severe weather in there. And then just to the east of the Central Rockies, a slight risk once again. Day 3, very large general thunderstorm risk, very large marginal risk as of now for Wednesday on the 25th. Now, this is pretty standard for this time of year. You know, late June into July. It's almost hard to rule out thunderstorms for anywhere in the central and eastern states on most days, and this is one of those days. I mean, really, it's northern New England there, maybe the northern regions of Minnesota and the UP of Michigan. Outside of that, east of the Rockies, find me another area that doesn't have a chance of thunderstorms here. You can't find it. So, very, very many folks dealing with at least a chance of thunderstorms daily, pretty much. Here during the upcoming pattern, which again is pretty much normal. That's not even abnormal. Looking at the tropics, again, I know that it's not very pertinent to us in the United States, but it is interesting to say the least. We have a 60% chance of tropical development in the middle of the more North Atlantic there than anything. So more chance than not that we are going to see some development there in the Atlantic tropics, which is really, really interesting. Again, we made our hurricane season forecast, so be sure to check that out. I expect more of like an average season to slightly above average, if anything. I'm not seeing these huge signs of a hyperactive season like we've seen for 2020, for instance. Last year looked like it was going to be really bad. It actually wasn't as bad as I thought it could be, but there's been some years recently where we've seen all these signs that it's going to be really, really bad, and I'm not seeing quite as much this year. So just to give you a sneak peek of what that forecast is, but be sure to check that out. Be sure to subscribe. We upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.